What's going on, everybody? Isaac Weintraub here of the Golf Body Project. I'm here to show you a couple really simple exercises that you can do to help out your golf game. And I also want to talk a little bit about all of the buzzwords that are going on in the golf world right now, you know, with guys like Bryson DeChambeau, Matt Wolff, George Gankus, all of the big coaches. They're talking about, you know, ground force and staying connected with the ground. And I kind of want to show you a couple exercises so that you can help apply those to your golf game. My aim is that the one or two exercises that I give you will be so simple that you can do them warming up before a round, or you can do them at the end of the night when you're watching TV, or on a Sunday if you're watching the golf in your living room. And so this exercise, I'm going to call it knee to chest, and it's a really simple exercise. And actually what it is it's a forward bend. You know, among the categories of exercises that I do, I talk about forward bends, I talk about back bends, and I talk about side bends. So warming up for a round, I'd be doing some forward bends, I'd be doing some side bends, and then I would start going into some leg stuff and pushing into the ground and working on my connection with the ground. But this is actually a forward bend. It's just an easy way to do it. And what it is I'm just going to grab my knee and pull it to my chest. And I just want you to feel how you're loading your leg. When that other leg comes off the ground, you can feel that your hips might shift over just slightly and you're still pushing into the ground. And so this is step one. You're going to do it like this. There's 4 different ways that you can do this. The next one would be, can you do it with your heels off the ground? So I'm going to try doing it heels off the ground. And then I'm going to grab that leg. Gets a little bit harder. And then the third way that we'll do it is we'll go back on the ground and we'll go eyes closed. And this is just always working on our balance, proprioception. You know, it can never hurt in the golf swing to have better balance. And then the last way to do it, the most advanced way, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it today, would be to go up on my tippy toes, heels off the ground, eyes closed. And then I'm going, yeah, so you can see it's pretty hard. So that's, you can progress your way through that, make sure you've got one mastered, but also keep pulling yourself in that direction. And so that is a forward bend. Pulling the knee to the chest is actually similar to hinging from the hips and bending down. So it's a forward bend. And the reason why that's so important is because the setup of the golf swing is not a squat. You're not squatting as sort of in the 80s and 90s. I remember the lingo was sitting on a bar stool, but that doesn't look, probably that profile view doesn't look like any tour player that you've ever seen, or if it does, they're probably not on the tour anymore. And so the setup for a golf swing is a forward hinge. That probably looks more similar, where you can see my knees are stacked over my toes and I've got a little bit of a forward hinge. And the reason why that's so important is because the number one problem that most amateurs run into is something called early extension. And you've probably heard that term thrown out just as much as you've heard Bryson DeChambeau talk about ground force and George Gankus and all the other guys talk about pushing into the ground and squatting and loading. And the thing about that is that as long as you maintain a forward bend in your golf swing, you will have all that ground force. Where when you get to the top of your swing, if you're in a forward bend and you stay in that forward bend, then when you go to push off the ground, you can see that you'll have all of that ground force that you need to push all of your weight up against the ground as you turn and then follow through. If you lose the forward bend, like most people, you'll come here, you're going to stand up, you notice the club comes outside in, and then you're going to hit that fade. Or sometimes you'll get up to the top of your swing, you'll lose that angle, and you'll go this way. And so most misses for a lot of amateurs are because of that, what they call early extension, where they've got a forward bend, and on the downswing, they get their hips going this way. So instead of thinking about all that in the golf swing, which is what most teachers are going to ask you to do, I don't really find that very enjoyable. I find that I like to work on my golf swing in the gym. I like to work on it at home. And then by the time I get out to the golf course, you know, if I warm up, I might just do a couple forward bends. And then by the time I get to the first tee, I can feel the forward bend, but I don't have to think about it. And then I just go. And so that's what I want you to do, is start thinking about how you want to play golf. When I play golf, I'm not thinking a lot. I've done all of the work already. I get to the first tee and I just want to have a good time. But you can start on a Sunday afternoon watching golf, or a Thursday morning hanging out, knee to chest, knee to chest. And the reason for that is that it's a forward bend, just like the setup, and on the downswing, the longer that we stay in that forward bend, the more we push off the ground. So ground force, #1 thing that everybody's talking about right now. You've got an exercise that can help you with that ground force, so that maybe all of these buzzwords can actually help you instead of all the experts just wanting to sound important. So Isaac Weintraub here, Golf Body Project. Make sure you hit subscribe on the button there, and Weintraub Golf on Instagram. If you want to get a lesson, mainly teaching in 2021 in the Santa Cruz, Monterey, San Jose area, DM me, hit me up, and yeah, I'd love to see you. Okay, peace out, everyone.